vitamin D is essential for the assimilation of calcium. And calcium is called the king. Because when calcium gets into the body, all the other minerals piggyback on the back. So calcium is called the king, because when calcium gets in, all the other minerals piggyback on the back. Now let me just go back before we have a look in detail at calcium, because it's an incredibly misunderstood mineral. So let's go back. When the ultraviolet rays hit the skin, they convert a form of cholesterol just under the skin to vitamin D. And the ultraviolet ray that does that is the UVB. It's the UVB rays that are converted to vitamin D. Sunscreens effectively block UVB. They effectively block UVB and UVA, but it's the UVB that's effectively blocked. Now the UVB is protective. That's your protective. And you know what it protects against? Skin cancer. So the very UVB rays that are going to protect from skin cancer are blocked with sunscreen. Let me give you some figures. From 1960 to 1990 in Norway, skin cancer rates accelerated 600%. Now that's almost unbelievable, isn't it? So did you get those figures? 1960 to 1990, skin cancer rates in Norway accelerated 600%. And there's two reasons. People are spending more time indoors. Isn't that true today? People are inside, indoors, on computer, whereas traditionally people were outside on the farm. Is that right? So people are spending too much time indoors and they're not getting their protective UVB rays. And the second factor was they're all using sunscreen. In fact, the figures are now showing that people use sunscreen have a 50% greater risk to get basal cell carcinoma and malignant melanoma. And what are we told? To protect us against skin cancer. Where do you use sunscreen? Someone just went like this. It's big business, isn't it?
Yeah.
In Australia, there's a program called Slip, Slop, Slap. I don't know if you have it here. It's slip a top on, slap a hat on, and slop the sunscreen on. Has it reduced skin cancer? It's increased it. How crazy is that? And yet, guess what's still on the television? Slip, slop, slap. And on the side of the road, there's a huge big ad with a lady in a bikini, and it says, "Skin cells in trauma." I'd like to graffiti that. If she's got sunscreen on, if she's dehydrated, if she had caffeine this morning, if she's eating margarine, if she's been there longer than half an hour, it is true that 6 to 7 sunscreens in your life, let me go back, 6 to 7 sunburns in your lifetime will double your risk of skin cancer. Obviously, if you burn that skin, you are damaging the skin. I think I mentioned earlier in the week when I was in Bali a year ago having a holiday. I went down every morning and I didn't have sunscreen, I had a watch instead. 10 minutes front or 15 minutes front, 15 minutes back under the umbrella. That afternoon, 15 minutes front, 15 minutes back under the umbrella. By the end of the week I had a very nice tan and I could go out in the sun for a long period of time because Michael and I did some snorkeling. And you got to have a good tan to go out there. Your UVB tan is your protective tan. That's far more powerful than putting sunscreen on. Now when you're in the car and the sun's coming on your arm and your arm gets burnt, that's not UVB, that's UVA. And if someone goes to a tanning salon, they get a UVA tan. And that UVA tan, you lose that very quickly. And that UVB tan, I still had that tan, I think I've still got it a little bit. That lasts, and that's your protective one. So that's just some important pieces of information for you on skin cancer. And when someone gets a basal cell carcinoma on the inside of their thigh, how much sun does that get? It's not the sun. The sun's been there since time dot. There are other things that have come into the equation. Vitamin D is essential for the assimilation of calcium and the utilisation of calcium. They're finding today that people who are getting sun cancers, skin cancers, are vitamin D deficient. So vitamin D deficiency is contributing to skin cancer. I've got some shocking news for you, students. Bones are not made of calcium. Are you surprised? Another myth. So what are bones made of? Bones are made of 12 minerals and 64 trace minerals. So what are the 12 minerals? Yes, calcium and chromium and boron and iron and magnesium and manganese and selenium and silica and sulfur and potassium and phosphorus and zinc. That's what bones are made of, and 64 trace minerals. Now, it's not rocket science to determine that that's what bones need. So where are we going to get that? Please don't take calcium supplements. They can actually make your bones weaker. So where are we going to get these minerals? Dr. Robert Thompson, he wrote a fascinating book called The Calcium Lie. And Dr. Robert Thompson, he declares that the clearest indicator of a creator God is seawater. Because seawater has the exact same mineral balance and proportion as is found in the body, in the bones, in the blood. In fact, in the war, the Navy used to transfuse with seawater because very quickly the body converts it to blood. And I've got some good news. To get strong bones, you don't have to drink seawater. What you can do is you can take the Celtic salt. And all you have to do is take a few crystals before every glass of water. So that's 8 times a day. I lost my little salt dispenser sometime yesterday. I don't know where. I was really lost this morning not having my salt before my water. But I made up for it at breakfast. And as you'll see on Friday, where I look at the salt in more detail, the salt is essential for life because it has all those minerals. Seawater has 92 minerals, Celtic salt has 82 minerals, and Himalayan salt has 75. So Himalayan is fairly similar. The other place that we will find these minerals in this proportion is dark green leafy vegetables. We had a lovely big salad today. Every main meal, we are going to serve to you some dark green leafy vegetables. I sat with a cook the other day and I said, we need a kale dish, we're going to be doing greens every day. And those greens are incredibly high in minerals because the soil has been fed. So that's how you get strong bones. You also need to strengthen the bones by rebounding. That's the best strength exercise because you're using your own body weight against gravity to get that strength. So this is what your bones need. The other problem is many people are taking things that are leaching the minerals out of the body. There's your caffeines, there's your alcohol, there's your refined sugars. The eyes need sun because the brain needs sun. And the brain gets the sun through the eyes. Dr. William Bates, he wrote a book called Better Eyesight Without Glasses in the 50s. He almost lost his credential after writing that book. And he says, your eyes can't have too much sun. I never suggest looking at the sun. There's only one time it's very easy to look at the sun, and that's early morning, late afternoon, yeah? Dr. Neil Nedley, in his book Depression: A Way Out, he gives a story. He said in his practice he discovered that 80% of his depressed patients, their circadian rhythm is out. And in my next lecture on rest, I will be talking about that a bit more, but the circadian rhythm basically is the rhythm that your brain runs at, and it's reset by early morning light. 1 hour of early morning light will reset your circadian rhythm. The problem is when people are going to bed too late, and most people today go to bed too late. When you go to bed late, you miss out on that early morning light, and isn't it beautiful? You're getting it at the moment. It's just lovely the way you've got that lovely red in the sky before it just comes over the horizon. So your eyes need the early morning sun to reset the circadian rhythm for mental health. Light and dark signals are fed through the optic nerve to a control centre in your brain where your body clock is located. So daily sun helps you sleep better at night. It also causes a boost of serotonin, your mood hormone. It was probably about 12 years ago that a group of scientists discovered on the retina a receptor site called melanopsin. And melanopsin is not involved in sight. Melanopsin is involved with brain function, and it absorbs blue light. And the highest sort of blue light is found in sunlight. They found when blue light levels were adequate in the brain, then your mental function increased. The ability to solve mathematical problems, tactical reasoning, all increased when the eyes got sun in the day. So if you have glasses on, my suggestion is go outside every day without your glasses on. Now, if you can't see anything, just hold on to something. Some people say, but it's so bright. Well, this is what you do. You go outside, you stand in the sun, close your eyelids, and then put your head up to the sun. And just keep it there for 30 seconds. The sun's rays go through your eyelids and help your eyes get used to the sun, and then put your head down and open your eyes. You'll be used to the sun. That's the best way to do it. What about sunglasses? I never wear sunglasses, and I don't think you should Joe just put his sunglasses away. But if I was snow skiing and it was blue sky and white snow, I think I'd wear sunglasses. Or my eyes could get burnt. And if I was water skiing, and I was driving the boat, I think I'd wear sunglasses. If I was driving in the city all day with the glare, I think I'd wear sunglasses. But as a rule, there is no need to wear sunglasses because your eyes need the messages from the sun. And if we go out into strong sun with sunglasses on, then the brain's not getting the message about how strong the sun is. If we go out in strong sun with no glasses, then the message is coming to the brain, strong sun, close up some receptor sites on the skin, and that prevents you burning so quickly. But if you go out in strong sun with sunglasses, no message is happening and you can burn easier. So our eyes need sun because our brain needs sun. We need sun. Sun penetrates very, very deep. And wherever sun penetrates into the body, it stimulates blood there, it stimulates healing. So no matter what your problem is, try and spend some time every day in the sun. The darker the skin, the more sun that you need. Very dark skin needs about 10 times the sun that I need. I've got white skin, blue eyes, and that's why I do 15 minutes front, 15 minutes back, little by little by little, get a tan. If you've got to be out in the sun for long periods, we'll cover with a thin shirt and a hat on and maybe some zinc on the nose. Sunscreens are potentially dangerous. In Australia, the Great Barrier Reef is being killed off because of the sunscreens that Aussies have got on them when they dive into the sea. You have to go 5 kilometres out now to see the Great Barrier Reef. The sunscreens contain many chemicals, and some of them are in nanoparticles. That's almost barely measurable, so it can be made into a cream. And they're finding that those nanoparticles is what's destroying the marine life. They're also finding that those nanoparticles, being so small, can get through the blood-brain barrier and cause potential problems there. We're going to move on now to law number 4, which is rest. There's a little gland in the base of your brain called the pineal gland. And the pineal gland releases 4 hormones every night. At the moment, they're released between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. When I go back to Australia in a week's time, it'll be between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. because it's not daylight saving, or sometimes it's called summertime, is that right? So what are the hormones that are released? One is serotonin, and serotonin is your mood hormone. If you want to feel good, go to bed early every night. You'll get a release of your serotonin. Number 2 is melatonin. And melatonin has a nickname. It's the fix and rejuvenate nighttime hormone. There's a whole lot of things that are happening while you sleep. Now you may have heard of rapid eye movement sleep, and you may have heard of non-rapid eye movement sleep. Have you heard of these? They discovered them many years ago now. The rapid eye movement sleep is when the eyes are moving around and it's directly related to brain function. Whereas the non-rapid eye movement is when there's hardly anything happening. Now they found that they happen in cycles, and it happens in a cycle every 90 minutes. So when you first go to sleep, the non-rapid eye movement is the most predominant, and the rapid eye movement is less prominent. So the first few hours of sleep are where you go more into a more relaxed sleep. And they also find in utero that babies have almost non-stop rapid eye movement in the last 2 weeks before they're born, because it's growing new neurons, new pathways already for coming into the world. Very interesting. And allowing these cycles to happen allows your brain to basically have rest and rejuvenation through the night. Right at the back of the brain there's the hippocampus, and that's the short-term memory storage unit. So all through the day a whole lot of things are happening, and it goes into our short-term memory. And then while we sleep, especially with the rapid eye movement where a whole lot of things are happening there, the information's taken from your hippocampus, your short-term memory, and it's taken into your cortex up here. So that's where the long-term memory is stored. And it's filed. It's like a filing system is happening while we sleep. And it's filing according to past experiences, according to attitudes. For instance, if something happens today and you think, that's terrible, well, that's where it'll be filed tonight, in the that's terrible file. And if something happens today and a person says, oh, that was wonderful, well, it goes into the wonderful file. So our attitude and our reaction to what's happening to us in the day influences how the things are stored. And if we sleep in these hours for a full, in fact the research shows, must be this, you heard of that? 8 hours. Must be 8 hours. Only 8 hours will do it. Must be 8 hours. When you sleep in those hours, when you wake up in the morning, that's when you wake up and you're revived. If you don't sleep in those hours, if you don't have your full 8 hours, then your short-term memory storage isn't fully emptied. So you haven't got an empty storage unit in your brain ready for the next day's memories. The other hormone that's released in these hours is epithalamin. And epithalamin is responsible for slowing down aging, and everyone likes that. It also increases learning capacity. And you will find out on Saturday morning that we should never stop learning. We should be learning new things right up until the day that we die. The other hormone, the fourth hormone, is arginine vasotocin. And arginine vasotocin is the hormone that puts you into a deep sleep. And that is your rapid eye movement. There's your deep sleep. A lot of people that can't sleep think if they go to bed later, they'll get tighter and sleep better. But the opposite's true. The earlier you go to sleep, the more likely you are to fall into a deep sleep because of arginine vasotocin. I should have an O. Vasotocin. It's also your natural painkiller. If you have pain of any sort, go to bed early. And your natural painkiller, arginine vasotocin, will kick in. But there'll be a bit of a waste from using it. And if you exercise in the day, you release that waste, so the next night you can get another dose of your arginine vasotocin. So we're going to make a list of things that will increase the output of these hormones at night. So one of the things that will increase the output of these hormones at night is exercise. On Friday, I will be defining the most powerful type of exercise there is the high intensity interval training. So that high intensity interval training, as the name implies, it's intervals of very, very fast and then slow. Most of the research has been done on exercise bikes. It's easy to do, especially if people are unstable on their feet. You can also do it on your rebounder. The higher you jump, the more intense. Try jogging on the rebounder, then you get very high intensity there. So when you exercise in the days, especially the high intensity, it increases the blood supply to the pineal gland, which helps to release those at night, and your perspiring also causes a release of the waste that will be given off when you use arginine vasotocin as a natural painkiller. When they were looking at the research on the rapid eye movement and the non-rapid eye movement, the rapid eye movement times of your sleep equal when you're awake. That's how busy it all is. So what's the difference? It's in the rapid eye movement time that your body is almost like paralyzed. This is when you can hold a hand up and it'll just flop down. Whereas when you're awake, your muscles are on edge, ready for your getting up or doing this. When you're in the non-rapid eye movement, they aren't on edge, but they're not totally relaxed. But when you're in the rapid eye movement, that's when you can pick up an arm and drop it. It doesn't even move. So it's very important to sleep in these hours to allow the body to do what the brain is designed to do while you're sleeping. More people die on the roads from sleep, being sleepy than alcohol. That's incredible. Drowsy driving kills more people than alcohol. When someone's been drinking, they break too soon, they break too late, there's the accidents. But when someone falls asleep, there's not even a break. There's not. That's not saying drink driving's okay, it certainly is not. Just incredible. In fact, it's one of the most forgotten things, because today so many people don't sleep enough because of electric lights and screens. So how can we increase the output of these hormones at night? Exercise in the day, also sunshine in the day. I have discovered a cure for jet lag. And in the last year, I don't get any jet lag. How do I do that? Every day I go outside and I put my face in the full sun with my eyes closed for 30 seconds. Then I put my head down and I sit in the sun for another half hour, either sew or knit or do something. And then I sleep at night. It's just incredible. In fact, it's almost too good to be true. Gone are the days where I used to lay awake until 3 in the morning because I'd just flown in from Australia. The first night you sleep like a log because you're so exhausted, but it's usually the second and the third and the fourth night.
How long is your face in the sun?
30 seconds
30 seconds.
with my eyes closed, and then I sit in the sun for another half hour and let the sun just go on my face, and I'm doing something, I'm reading or I'm knitting or sewing. Also, sleeping in the dark is important. Yes, all the technology have to get out of the bedroom. Wi-Fi has to be turned off at night. Fasting, going to bed with an empty stomach allows you to sleep better. When you go to sleep at night, your stomach wants to sleep too. If you can't sleep because you're so hungry, get up, have a crystal of salt and a glass of water. And that's usually enough to get you back off to sleep. Laughter, the merry heart doeth good like a medicine, says Proverbs 17:22. We should laugh more. What causes a decrease? The opposite of laughter. What's the opposite of laughter? Worry. If you're lying in bed and you're getting annoyed because you can't sleep, will that put you to sleep? No. So what do? You can't laugh out loud, you'll wake everyone in the house. Gratitude. If you can't sleep, be very thankful. You lie there and you start listing all the things that you can be thankful for. I am so glad I'm not in a concentration camp. I'm so glad I'm not outside in the rain lying in a ditch. I'm so glad I have a comfortable bed. One lady said, I can't think of anything to be thankful for. I said, I notice you've got 2 legs. I've met people without legs. We have so much to be thankful for. And sometimes it's not until you acknowledge them that you realise how great it is that you have what you have. It's all how you see it, isn't that true? In life, there's always thorns and roses, and what you look at is how it affects you. Don't look at the thorns, look at the roses. So being very, very thankful. So if I cannot sleep, and most of the time I can, I lie there and I just start listing all the things to be thankful for. On Saturday morning, I'm going to show you where the dialogue happens. You've got your emotional brain that wants you to worry, and then you've got the front part of the brain that says, no, I'm not going to worry, I'm going to be thankful. One of the reasons I wrote my book, Self-Heal by Design, is because for many years I was challenged with the yeast problem, about 30 years that had come and go. So I decided to bite the bullet and go on a strict antifungal diet. And the only fruit that I ate for 18 months was grapefruit. I chose to see grapefruit as the most wonderful fruit on the planet. What did I do? I chose. So someone could be eating a mango next to me. Oh, I love figs. And I would be thankful that I had the best fruit. It's all the way you see it, isn't it? Yes, I did conquer a problem I'd had for many years. 18 months? Well, it didn't take me 30 years. It's all how you see it, isn't that true? The other thing that will decrease the output of the hormones is artificial light. Especially the screens. And how many people that can't sleep, what do? They reach for their phone. And that phone, those screens, whether it be iPad or computer or your phone, gives off blue light. It's not the same frequency as the blue light from the sunshine, but when your eyes see that screen, you know what the brain thinks? Daytime, wake up! You're not going to sleep now, because you've just given a message to the brain, it's time to wake up. And that's why there should be no computers, no iPads or phones in the bedroom. They must be out of the bedroom. or turned right off. Turned right off. But I need the phone for an alarm. We'll put it in the hallway. You'll wake up for sure. You have to go into the hallway and find it. Or the very far corner of the room. Maybe you can get away with it.
In a glass.
In a glass.
You put it in an empty glass, it'll be a lot louder.
I thought you were saying in a glass
It was
because
a
it'll
tag
shield it.
You know, to increase the alarm.
Okay, in a glass in the hallway.
Yeah.
What can also decrease it is caffeine. Caffeine cuts it in half for 6 hours. Caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. How many people have a cup of coffee before they go to sleep at night? That means, or after tea, maybe they go to sleep at 10 or 11, but they have a cup of coffee at 7:30. That means that until, say, 1:30 in the morning, you've got that caffeine's fully affecting your body, and at 1:30, then you've got 50% of the caffeine effect. Now, another reason why we sleep is because of sleep pressure. Sleep pressure slowly builds up all through the day, and it's adenosine. And then when we sleep at night, the sleep pressure releases. And then we wake up in the morning, and it all starts all over again. And slowly through the day, the sleep pressure builds up. So we sleep at night, and we get tired of an evening, not just because of the circadian rhythm and the sun's gone down and the message to the eyes, through the eyes to the brain is it's time to sleep, but also it's this sleep pressure. Caffeine blocks the receptor sites. And that's why if someone's feeling tired at night and they have a cup of coffee, what happens? Vroom! They wake up because it's blocked the receptor sites of adenosine, almost inactivates them. So if a person has a cup of coffee 7:30 at night, they've got the full effect of the caffeine for 5 hours, then the half effect for the next. When they wake up in the morning, the sleep pressure is still there. The sleep pressure was not allowed to be released. So by mid-morning, what are they doing? So what do they do to wake themselves up? Have another cup of coffee. Can you see the vicious cycle that's happening? They're finding that caffeine drinking and not enough sleep at night, huge contributing factor to mental illness. And mental illness is huge today. In the book Why We Sleep, fascinating book, it was written only 2 years ago by Matthew Walker, a neuroscientist. He shows that if a person just has 6 hours sleep a day, there's not much difference in the first few days, but after a week, there's a massive difference. Massive difference in the brain function, massive difference in their cognitive ability. And yet how many people blame poor, old? We're going to be in bed by 10. But I've got to study. Okay, go to bed at 8 and get up at 4. There's your 8 hours. Isn't it incredible? Teenagers love sleep. It's almost impossible to get them up in the morning. Well, why don't they love sleep at 8 p.m.? Why don't they love sleep at 7 p.m.? And they're your hours of power. You heard the old saying, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. The science now is showing why. Alcohol. Alcohol cuts it in half. Alcohol, it's a 40% reduction. That's almost half. A 40% reduction in the output of the hormones at night. So that person might go to sleep easily under the effect of alcohol, but they'll wake with half-charged batteries. When you consider all of this, could we actually say maybe 80% of Americans are walking around today with less cognitive ability, less brain function, all because of lack of sleep? It's actually scary, isn't it? In his book, Matthew Walker, he quotes a famous athlete, and his performance on field was directly related to his sleep. Directly related to his sleep. So that's why if I have a very busy schedule, I keep these laws. Make sure my window's wide open, I have sunshine in the day, I don't take anything in that will interfere with my body's function. That's why temperance is an important law of health. If you don't turn the tap off, you're still going to be mopping up in the other corner. I make sure I go to bed by 10 o'clock, and I'm so glad there's no boom, boom, boom in the background anymore. Did you notice the other day, because there's been this rock festival just in the hills over there, that I went to bed, it was Sunday night, and I could hear it in the background, boom, boom, boom. In fact, there was someone on a speaker yelling, and then a crowd yelling. And I thought, whoa, but you know what you do? In everything give thanks. I'm so glad I'm not outside in a ditch. I'm so glad I'm not at that rock festival. Then I heard sirens. Did you hear the sirens? It must have been about 10 past 10. Wow! 2 cars with sirens. 10 minutes later, no noise. I was talking to Travis. He said a lot of the neighbours have been complaining, and they had this big meeting. They had to stop everything by 10. And then it was nice and quiet. If you need a light at night, a great night light is a Himalayan salt lamp. And the Himalayan salt lamp gives off a nice soft glow because the moonlight does not interfere with your circadian rhythm. And also it's giving off negative ions in the room. My daughter always had the Himalayan salt lamp just in the hallway outside her little girl's bedroom. Meat. Meat is very high in an amino acid called methionine. Vegetarian protein is quite low in methionine, and it's for this reason that some nutritionists say that vegetarian protein is not a complete protein because it's low in methionine, but it's not true. It has adequate methionine. But when you fast, your small intestines produce tryptophan. And tryptophan is a key amino acid used in the production of melatonin and serotonin. And methionine blocks the action of tryptophan. So I know in Australia many people have a big meat meal at night, a little bit of alcohol with their meal, cup of coffee after the meal, then they're on the technology, and some of the stuff they're watching is violent, causes worry. No wonder they're not sleeping. No wonder they're not sleeping. And yet our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual performance through the day can be almost directly related to how much sleep we had that night. So it's time to revive sleep. So what if you go into bed and you cannot sleep? Then you lie there and say, thank you, Father in heaven, that I can't sleep because now I can talk to you. Thank you, Father in heaven, that I've got 2 arms that work. Thank you, Father in heaven, that I've got eyes that see. Just whatever you can think of. And I know that I have some friends, they're in their 80s now, who were in the war. Whoa. Thank you, Father in heaven, there aren't bombs going off outside. There's so much that we have to be thankful for. And if you still can't think of anything to be thankful for, it's time to take a 2-week holiday and work in an orphanage in Africa or India. And when you come home, you'll be able to think of a lot of things to be thankful. So you can get so much more out of your day, out of your life, by implementing these things. You might also have heard of the old saying, an hour before midnight is worth 2 after. Have you heard that old saying? In my Anatomy and Physiology book, 1976, nurse's book, it said, not much is known about the pineal gland. Well, a lot is known today. And when people are not sleeping early, when people are taking all of the things in that cause a decrease in the output of the hormone from the pineal gland actually calcifies. it calcifies. And then it's almost impossible for someone to sleep. So we've got to look after that pineal gland, give it the right conditions. Because life should be good, am I right? It should be good every minute of the day. It should be very good. And I know people who are incredibly wealthy, but they live in a body that doesn't work. What good is the wealth then? You might have heard of the old saying, health is wealth. And the Bible says in 3 John chapter 1 verse 2, Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. So we know that God's design is not for us to be sick and miserable. It's for us to prosper and be in health. It's 3 John chapter 1 verse 2. So my lecture has ended. Tomorrow I've got some good news. We're going to spend all day or all morning on food. We're going to begin with the acid alkaline lecture, then we're going to look at one of my favourite lectures. It's called Fantastic Fats. So enjoy your day. Some may have treatments at 10:30, so we'll let you go quickly so you can make that. And tonight we've got the Poultice lecture here at 7 o'clock. Yeah?